I'm Lieutenant Colonel Jason Trunk Bartels. I've been at Luke Air Force Base for almost 6 years, and I'm Chief of Integration, which is like strategic plans, long-term planning. And with that, I also deal with most of the partner issues and concerns to execute their mission at Luke. Also the Red Air program that we have, and then kind of wing optimization, so ways to make sure the wing run more efficiently. Luke is the largest fighter wing in the world, and it also has the largest ops group in the world. And so currently we have 4 F-35 squadrons operating here, 61st, 62nd, 63rd, 308th. Next summer, the 310th Fighter Squadron, which will be another USAF 35 squadron, will stand up operations. Currently, we have Denmark, the Netherlands, Italy, and Norway, and those are in the 62nd and 308th Fighter Squadron. And coming up, Canada, they would be the last one who would be slated to come to Luke Air Force Base. When you go outside of the partnership, we also have some foreign military sales. So the only one that's slated for a foreign military sales program to Luke is Belgium, and then they should start flying in January of 24. Generally, you're looking at each squadron flying about 18 to 20 lines a day, and so you can multiply that very quickly and see that you're talking about 80 sorties a day, roughly, just in F-35s. And then currently we have 2 foreign military sales F-16 units here, Taiwan and Singapore. And then we also have the 309th Fighter Squadron, which will retire their Block 25s in September. And then the Block 42 Squadron, which is currently the 310th. So they're going to move their airplanes from the 310th to the 309th, and the 309th Fighter Squadron will continue operating here, and hopefully forever until they go to the boneyard. Because as we look out in the future, what we're looking at is how do we bring the training together for 4th and 5th gen platforms, along with our Air Control Squadron, which trains on the opposite side of the base. And we're looking at, as we look at Fighter FTU Next and FTU Next programs, around 25, 26 timeframe, rolling those out, and really trying to combine and find the synthesis that would be involved with putting those 3 programs together.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Sean Walsh. I go by Motor. I've been in the Air Force for 18 years. I'm currently the commander of the 425th Fighter Squadron. We still have 4 squadrons at the moment here at Luke Air Force Base, and there's 4 more at Holloman. Back in the day there used to be 8. Luke still has 8 fighter squadrons, but half of them are F-35 at the moment. In the coming weeks, really, the 21st Fighter Squadron, which is US and Taiwan, they'll be moving to Tucson. They'll be finished moving by September or October. The next to move is my squadron, which is the 425th Fighter Squadron, and we are Singapore and US joint squadron. So we'll be moving on, the current schedule is June of next year. And we'll be moving to one of probably 2 locations. It's still not completed. They're still doing the environmental studies and all that. The preferred location is Ebbing Air National Guard Base in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And then the alternate location is Selfridge Air National Guard Base in Michigan.
So the airplane is very easy to fly, which is good. So after 100 years of aviation, we figured out how to make airplanes easy. The reality is the airplane is highly effective. And so because it's easier to fly and it can synthesize a lot of information very quickly for you, the employment and the capability has grown rapidly. And so when I first showed up here, we were still flying the initial software in the airplane, and it was very limited in both Gs and capabilities. But as we've seen the software tapes 3, 4, 5, and 6 roll out, the capability in the airplane is going up asymptotically, right? And so for an old guy, what that means is it's very hard to stay current all the time because the reams of volumes of data that you have to try and stay on top of is difficult. But the beautiful thing is about what pilot training has done and the way that they've approached learning for them. We've taken a lot of those lessons learned to try and not only to include them in our training here, but also as we look at what that training is going to look like in 25, 26 as we modify. And so in general, the students are doing very well. Now we understand we're getting typically some of the best graduates, because when you go to pilot training, what airplane do you want to fly? The best airplane in the Air Force. And you can't find a better airplane than the F-35. So naturally we get to collect the best. It's unusual that you find people fail initial sorties. So that's kind of your instrument sorties and your BSA and your BFM sorties, where it becomes difficult because they don't learn this in pilot training. This is what we're really teaching is how do I do an OCA mission? How do I do seed and offensive counter air all at the same time? And so that's the rides that often you can expect guys have the most trouble with, because it's not uncommon for a 4-ship to have 8 enemy airplanes out there and then a whole host of SAM systems that they're trying to defeat. That is what we spend a lot of times in the simulator developing, so that we can see, for example, if you do a TI sim, you're going to probably see 10 to 12 reps. And you can put in weather, you can put in system degradations. But if you fly that, you're probably only going to do 3 or 4 sets. Just because you've got to go to and from the airspace, you don't have the quick reset times, and your adversaries can only last so long. And so what we've done first is to make sure that we can use the simulator to build airmanship. And so that ties into using the weather and system degradations, and then teaching a culture of our newest IPs so that they learn that. Because remember, our newest pilots have only flown in airplanes with all the Gucci electronics. It's your old hats, right, like me, that have flown in airplanes that didn't have even GPS at times. And so what we're trying to do is take those lessons and make sure they're incorporated into the synthetic environment, so that when they do live fly, now all of a sudden that learning can happen at a much higher level and you make it more valuable. So that we don't have to teach the basic building blocks in the air. We teach those in the sim, so that then we can do the advanced in the airplane.